This is Bird Fans Forever podcast with Steve Thate, Jon Diener, and myself, Jon Pemberton. Go Birds!
Hello everyone, welcome to Bird Fans Forever podcast number 17. Reminder to everyone, if you haven't already done so, to follow us on Twitter at Bird Fans Forever. And our central point of information is our website, www.birdfansforever.com. On the website, you can find tabs with links to our podcast, Apple, Google, Spotify, and others, as well as a tab to access our videos on YouTube, where we're also called Bird Fans Forever. So subscribe and follow us on Twitter and YouTube so you can be up to date with everything going on from us. Our guest for today is Redbird for Life, Scott Fowler, who was also with the Illinois State basketball team from 1987 to 1992. We'll be right back with Scott.
Hello and welcome to Bird Fans Forever, episode 17 with Scott Fowler. He played from 1987 to 1992 on the 87-88 team. He was a redshirt and was on the NIT team with Matt Tapborn and Ned Kane. In 88-89, we were 13-17, and that was not a good year, right, Scott? And then the 89-90 NCAA team with us, the 90-91 5-23. Now off the air, Scott tried to make it 5-25 because Scott just wants to add losses. But Scott also blew his ACL on that one minutes before they got on the bus, and Butterly talked about that one. And then he came back and won a conference championship his senior year in the 91-92 season. So Scott, welcome and thank you for being on, big boy. How you doing?
I'm excellent. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Perfect. Awesome. Other big numbers for Mr. Fowler. His senior year, he scored 11.7, averaged 11.7 points a game, shot 51.9% from the floor, averaged 5 rebounds. Against Wichita State, he went there and grabbed 12 rebounds in a game. In the 91-92, he was second team all-conference. That's enough of the highlights for Scott. He's got a lot more. Go look out in the record book on the Go Redbirds fan site, and you'll find him there. So we always start with this question. Mr. Fowler, how did you get to ISU?
Oh, man, what a journey. I was one of those kids that, I wanted to sign early. So I wanted to do the November signing. So I wanted to get it all out the way so that I could focus in on, that Chicago prep ball that's, really tough when it comes to the city playoffs and the state and all that other good stuff. So I had 3, I think, official visits and 1 unofficial visit. I think the unofficial visit was to Northwestern. My sister lived in that area. We used to play spring ball in that area. I knew some people up there, a couple of girls and stuff like that. So I ended up eventually, seeing the coach, and he presented, an offer to me. They called, but at the time I didn't think I was going to be able to make the academic requirements to go to Northwestern. If I'd have known I was going to sit out my freshman year, then I probably would have went anyway. Been in the Big Ten, and then I don't know the sequence of the visits, but then I visited Oklahoma State. And, of course, this was the year Kansas won the national championship, so I guess I would have been playing up against Danny. I guess I would have played against you guys. We played Oklahoma our freshman year. We didn't play Oklahoma State.
No.
But that trip didn't go so well. I found out that trip I was a city kid and that the country just wasn't for me. And then I went and visited St. Louis and Illinois State, and everything about Illinois State just vibed with me. The people, the campus, everybody there, everything that was going on. And the night I said, it was so much pressure. The night I said that I was going to go to Illinois State, I was on the phone, with Illinois State. On the other line was St. Louis. And they were like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I was like, too much pressure. I can't handle this. So I just, it was one of those rare occasions. I just went with my heart. And I was like, I had a great time there. I love the program. I like where it's going. It's similar to what I'm, how I play and things now. So it became an easy choice at that point. Illinois State it was.
Awesome. All right. So you get to ISU in the 87-88, and then they drop the bomb on you as your freshman on campus. So let's talk about that bomb and thinking what a red shirt is, right? Because a lot of us,
I know.
especially back then, we didn't know what red shirts were.
Yeah, I had absolutely no idea. They had never mentioned it before. And of course, in hindsight, like, I spoke earlier, it made sense being behind, so many top tier power forwards, playing in my position. My time would have been limited. So it made better sense. But yeah, it was, I forget how the conversation went. I have absolutely no idea how it went, but I know they approached me and was like,
sure
hey,
it was one-sided.
Yeah, it was very one-sided. It wasn't me going up to them saying, you know what? I can see the dynamics in the program. I think it would behoove us if I sat out this year. It didn't go that way at all.
It wasn't this interactive, dynamic conversation.
Not at all. It was like, you're going to red shirt this year. What is a red shirt? All right, here we go.
I got a red shirt. I got a green shirt.
I know, exactly. That's why I came to this school, to get a red shirt. I think I'm okay. Yeah, it was confusing. And I think what made it better, I was saying earlier, is Dan. He was my roommate. He was the other freshman that came in with me, and he redshirted as well. And it was such a learning curve. I remember like being at the first game, and we're out there having a shoot around, before the first game, and everybody's getting ready to shoot free throws, and they're like, "All right, Scott and Dan, line up over here to do line drills." And I'm like, "I don't think so." We just did about 50 line drills last week. I'm not finna do them right now. And they was like, "No, this is how it is. You don't play. You got to get in some conditioning." And I was like, "Wow."
I did the same thing. Remember, here's shoot around, right? Everybody's going to get their water and their free throws, and then they're over on the side going, "Come on over here, Big Pep, time to run." And you're like, what? And and there I am running up and down the court, and they're all drinking, drinking their Gatorade, shooting their free throws, and yeah, it's a trip.
And it's no stopping. It's like, well, am I running 5 or am I running 10? They're like, no, you run until they leave the court. I'm like, you could be an hour.
Yeah. Especially with Tony Hollifield shooting free throws, right? I mean,
I know, exactly.
Right? We'd be all getting, dressed. Tony'd still be out there shooting his free throws, and you'd still be running. Going, "Come on, Tony, just make a free throw. Come on."
Uh-huh. It was interesting. So I kept, preparing to do, to prepare myself for the next season, so it was made understood. You're sitting out this year, it's a red shirt, it was understood, what would go forward. You still got 4 years left. I'm like, okay, everything's fine. What can I do to get myself in a position, to be better? So that was my focus at that time. And me and Dan, we kind of, we worked out really hard, throughout the school year, in the spring and the summer. So when we came back in the fall, I wanted to be ready to go.
Yep.
So Scott, when you're there, leading up to that first practice, and John always says October 1-5. So do you remember that first practice? And do you have any stories of like? He always tells about someone who's under Donald, like, you don't show up 5 minutes before practice. You show up. Did anyone give you a heads up, or did they just let you learn the hard way?
Oh, you learn the hard way. You just follow the path. You just follow the group. Like, where's the cafeteria?
Like a rite of passage.
Yeah, it's a rite of passage. You're getting on an airplane and everybody's dropping their bags at you. Like, what's wrong with you guys? Put your bags on the plane. They're like, no, the freshmen have to carry them. No heads up. You didn't want to tell us, it's the dead of winter out here. I'm getting ready to get on the airplane. It was one of those things. And the practice, I wish they really should have did a demo practice so you would know. Because the first day of practice, I didn't know where I was at, what I was doing. I was just running around. I was just like, just don't stop. Just keep moving. Because it was this 5-man motion that I had never done before. And it was this expectation that you should know what this is. And I was like, wow, this is crazy.
And you're getting yelled at, and you're getting line drills assigned to you, right? Give Fowler another one. Give Pemberton one, right? I mean, you're like, oh, my God, I'm in trouble.
I know. Like that whole line drill thing. They were throwing line drills out like, at a game with the t-shirt cannon or something. It was just fun for them.
They were kind of like Oprah. You get a line drill.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Look under your chair. What do you got? I got a line drill. Thank you, Coach. Man. But no, that first day was interesting. But yeah, there was no warning. I vaguely remember the conditioning. I remembered the Indian run. Oh my God, the 3-mile Indian run.
I'm not sure you can call that in this day and age.
Oh yeah, I don't know what you call it now.
I don't know what they call it now. You want to explain it? What it is?
Yeah, so we all get.
I know what that is.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. So we were doing our 3-mile run, all in a line. The last person has a sprint to the front, and you just keep going, keep going. Man,
so here's the key. Here's the key. And I don't know if Scott knew this his freshman year. I'd love to know if he figured it out second year. I'm walking up. I'm looking at him and Dan. I'm going to run behind them. You know why?
Exactly.
They're freshmen. And they're the slowest. So when they take off to go and get in front of the line, you can start to cheat out and kind of make your run. So you stay completely off the coach who's riding the bike's radar, and you're not going to get yelled at because they're yelling at Dan to pick it up. And then, of course, you're just sliding in front of Dan at the last second, or Scott and Dan. So, yeah, you don't want to be near Jeff Harris. You don't want to be near Sonny Roberts. You don't want to be near Matt Taphorn, Todd Starks, Randy Blair. You want to be on the opposite side of the planet of those human beings, right?
I did not learn that. I feel cheated now, but
so I had Derek Sanders and Bill Bratzik, and Derek's like Big Pimp.
Okay, I'm going behind Bill Bratzik.
Derek's like I'm going behind Bratzik. I'm like, well, if Derek's going behind Bratzik, I'll go behind Derek. That's a mistake. I need to be ahead of Derek, but behind Bill, right? So Big B could fly.
So Scott, in the 89-90 season, right after the incident, which we're going to talk about a little bit later in this segment, you guys won back-to-back games on last-second tip-ins. Probably two of the most remarkable tip-ins. First one was by you, right? And the second was by Sonny. So let's talk about yours. So let's kind of set it up. We'll put some video to this. It's against Drake. We're down by 1, okay? And Gerard has the ball. He's on the baseline. He takes a wonderful shot that comes up about 4 or 5 feet short, maybe.
Yes, at least.
But let's talk about how you finished the game for ISU.
It was one of those in the right places at the right time type of tip-ins. Until, the video was clear that it actually went off my hands and I just took credit for it. It was just reactive. It was all about, positioning, getting there into the right spot, knowing your team, what type of shot they like to take, and got a nice little, little fingertip tip in to take it home, and did a little celebrational dance on the way down.
Yeah. So talking about reactions, so John said that you had a reaction like a. John, you want to show the Fowler reaction, the normal Fowler reaction, where he does a fist bump, right?
Yeah.
And a little hop, right?
Yeah.
But we did it 4 times this time, right? So.
Well, you had to stress. You had to get back on D, so you had to hop down the court. You could.
You weren't looking for anybody to pick up. You were just celebrating something down the court.
It was all about me at that moment, I guess. I wanted the scorekeepers to know that it was me, and I wanted everybody to know that I had to get back.
Here's the difference. So episode 1, NCAA tournament, right? We showed Muller's game-winning layup, right? And then Pemberton shows the whole team's running back, and in unison, they're following the ball. They're looking to pick up people.
It's really cool.
This team is just jumping up and down.
they learn? Because someone at some point must have told them, hey, get back on D even though you make it. For us, we was like, no, it's party time. Hopefully, I had to look. Hopefully, someone was clear-headed enough to pay attention, to have our backs while I jumped and, paraded and skipped down the court. Oh, man.
So the next game, you guys going to Bradley, right? And you guys have another remarkable tip in. You guys want to talk about that one?
Oh, good old Sonny Ray. Good old Sonny, always solid down there. You would have never, looking at his expression, known that Sonny just won the game. Sonny was so even. He just won the game, and he's just like, are we getting gondolas on the way back to, normal? What's happening? Care less. Now, if Sonny would have been jumping up, now then we would have had something going on. And that would have been a poster. That would have been all over campus if that would have happened.
So we had Coach Lowenthal on about 3 weeks ago, right, John?
Episode 15, right?
Yeah. And one of the things we talked about, which
Episode 13. I'm sorry, let me correct myself. Episode 13, Coach Lowenthal was on. Yes.
The thing that we just found so remarkable in that when we talked about it was in that championship game, the MVC championship game, the Redbirds drew 4 charging calls in the first half, and then there was another one in the second half. And you, Mr. Fowler, drew 3 in the first half and a fourth one in the second half. And we think we know for sure you got at least 2 fouls in mixed swing, but maybe a third one as well. So tell us about that, and then tell us about how you guys used to prep for those charge calls.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know I had that many charges in a game, but usually sometimes it's part of the game plan. We know someone's out of control. You know where the players are going to go. They're going down the screen. This guy's coming off the the screen or whatever was happening. Be there, be ready. But prior to that, I had always, been pretty good at taking charges and things like that. And, it was, I could jump okay, but I wasn't no shot blocker. I was only, 6'5", so 6'6", whatever I like to tell people. So, that was part of my defensive repertoire. People used to ask, how'd you guys play? I was like, everybody I played against was taller, some, much bigger and things like that. It's about positioning, getting to the right spot. Putting your body out there. And, we prepped for it in practice. We had this insane drill where, you would sit on the block and someone would be out by the 3-point line and they would rev up like in the cartoons and just come at you full speed. And they wasn't going around you or anything like that. Their whole point was to go through you. So you absorb the contact. Might be illegal these days, but you absorb the contact and, took your charge. And
was that under Donald or?
That was under. I remember doing those under Bender. Yeah, that was under Bender. Yeah. Oddly enough, Scott, can't believe it.
Who was the worst person to sit on the block? And
see now John.
There's always one person on the team that takes it to a new level, right? There's other people that realize it's you're gonna go full blast, right? Because I remember this in football, right? And everyone's smart, right? But there's that one nut job out there that always listens and does exactly what the coach says. Who was that?
I can't think of who it was, but there was always someone that was like, you know what, I'm going to jump over him. You're like, you're not jumping over me. That's not happening. My arm reaches 8'2" when I reach it to the air. You're not jumping over me. But if people want to do that, and, some people, running, would run full speed at you. It's like, I'm gonna fall. Don't worry. You don't have to knock me over. We get the gist. Just get close enough. Hit me. I'll hit the ground. It's about me hitting the ground. It's not about you running me over. But that was weird that it was just on the Bender. It wasn't on the downwall. That had downwall written all over it. But no.
No, I don't remember ever doing it under Donwall. Then. I'll have to talk to some of the other guys we played with and see if they remember it. But Bender weekly, if not twice a week, we'd be out there doing that drill, right?
Yeah.
And so Yeah.
Yeah, but that's crazy. I got 3 in that game. I didn't even, or 4 in that game. That was that's something else. But like I said, I want to say, and I'm at the dig through my my archives and see. But I want to say I got like an award for taking the most offensive foul. I don't know if it was from the school at our banquet.
If you find it, I need a picture of it. So
yeah. I'm gonna have to look for that. I want to say it was something, and I thought to myself, hey, that's pretty good. I took pride in that.
Yeah, and Coach Wallen thought that was his key to winning the championship, right? He talked glowingly about that, right? And so, and then I had to go watch and go find other things. I'm like, oh my God, I think you got all 3 on Freddie McSwain, which would be our equivalent of getting him on Ricky, right? He was their leading scorer. He was their swing player. The offense kind of ran through him.
Wow.
So, yeah, that was awesome. All right, Scotty. So when we were chatting, the first thing you said to me was, I thought you were telling my story of leaving a recruit. And in episode 3, Gerard Coleman, our boy, leaves a recruit in the Waterston lobby after a night of partying at Illinois State. And come to find out, I start rolling out because, Scott, what did you do?
I also left a recruit in the lobby of Waterston Tower. It was so funny, and I knew this kid too. When I was in 8th grade, me and some other 8th graders, they had this little all-star game, and this kid was from the suburbs, and he was short, but he could dunk the ball. And, I was, 6'4", whatever. The other, my friend Marcus Liberty, he played at Illinois. He played in the pros. We were on the same team, and we were he's 6'8", and this kid is 6'2", 6'3", or whatever, and he's dunking the basketball. We were just crazy what was going on. So he comes to Illinois State for a visit. We're very familiar. He's still the, same kid, cool, everything's nice, showing him around town, stuff like that. We go to a party, some house party, my Achilles heel, I meet some girl. I'm like, I forget, I asked somebody, I was like, hey, either, take him back to the hotel or take him to my room. And somebody on the team was like, cool. So then the next morning, I'm in the room and I get a call from, Coach Jones, AJ? You can either come on over to the stadium or whatever. Something happened with the recruit and stuff like that. So I'm walking down and there's the recruit. I'm like, oh man, this is not going to be good. This is crazy. Come to find out, this kid, whoever was supposed to take him back, to the hotel or back to my room, just didn't do it. Poor kid slept in the lobby all night long. So he didn't come to Illinois State. he moved on somewhere else. Poor guy, and it was funny listening to the story. I was like, I left a recruit in the lobby. Yeah, I know they're making jokes. I was like, yeah, I left him in Waterston because that's where I left him at, in Waterston, lobby. Come to find out, we had done it before. So I think the point is, if you're really strong, you can come to Illinois State because you're independent. if you have to rely on a recruiter, a chaperone, then you're not made for Redbird basketball.
Oh,
real.
Wow. Man, when I heard you say that,
I don't remember getting in too much trouble. Yeah, I don't remember
Well, it might not have been AJ because it probably would have been under Bender. Because your freshman year would have been sophomore year would have been.
Yeah, it was sophomore. So I was
sophomore year.
Okay, it was still Dunwall. I remember going to Horton Fieldhouse. And, you go, it's all dark in there. He's got the little backlit, in his office, kind of, ominous. So you go in there and, just nothing you could say or do. You just sit there and just take it.
Yeah.
Whatever was going to be said or whatever was going to be done, you just give it to me. I'll take it.
Well, thank God we didn't have some team meeting for you because I would have been running again, right? Because Sonny got my butt in trouble, right? And so... Because you didn't laugh.
That sounds so sunny.
Yeah. You so deadpan humor, right? It's just subtle, sly comment. And he was the master at that, right? Giving a little sly comment. Because we had to be dead quiet during film session. I mean, there was no talking. You had your notes and your book, and you were taking notes, and you're watching film session. And I mean, there was some funny crap that went on, and you'd just be like biting a finger because it was dark. Yeah, bite your tongue, right? I mean, right?
I remember one time though. We had a film session after a game. So we had a game. We flew back. We were in trouble. So we had to watch film. It was like 1-something in the morning. And you could just see everybody's head just snapping back. I was like, this is not going to go well.
It was a productive film session, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's just him up front, in front of the VCR, forward and rewinding, yelling, and everybody else head back there just snapping, trying to stay awake.
That is, seat placement during those moments of your career were incredibly important, right? Guys would be pushing each other to get the right chair, to get themselves to a corner, right? So if they did not, they wouldn't be seen because we talked about it. You get a line drill. You get a line drill. You get a. Assistant coaches were just sitting back there waiting for you to do something, right? And so, yeah.
And it wouldn't have been beyond them to say, you know what, let's go run. Afterwards. It wasn't beyond them to do that.
No. Well, there's a lot of midnight practices, right? Especially on those years we were losing. So yeah. All right. Let's talk about the 5-23 season. I almost said 5-25. Bad influence, Mr. Fowler. Your
Maybe
ACL.
we lost the preseason game.
Yeah.
No.
Well, you would have been playing. So do you remember blowing out your ACL? Do you remember that day, or is it all just a blur?
It was crazy. I knew I had sprained my right ankle a little bit. So, I did what everybody's not supposed to do. I was favoring a little bit. And practice was almost over. I want to say it was a cross-court pass. I was on the right block. I gave our good Mike Vandergaard a head pump. He went for it. And then when he came down, I thought I broke my leg. I heard the pop, and I thought, oh, my God, I just broke my leg. And because I could just feel this sensation just all down the side of my leg. The last thing I thought was my knee. I didn't think it was my knee at all. And then, they try to do the test and stuff like that. They can't tell. So, we're 15 minutes from getting on the bus. I mean, the buses are out there. We're getting ready to get into the shower, get dressed, and get out of there. And, here I am, laying on the floor. And I'm not knowing, well, my leg's not broke. They tell me that. But we don't know what's wrong. But they definitely know you're not going to play in that first game. Right. So I knew that was going to happen. But, it was interesting because even though this was, my body, my career, my life, I think Ruben was more vested in me coming back than I was. I mean, Ruben Arjun, our trainer, he was an absolute beast in rehabbing my leg to get it back. He was, hands down, I would have never played again if it hadn't been for him. He did a remarkable job keeping me on task, working it, taking it to the limit, getting to where it needed to be. So it was great. But the other thing about the knee injury that I think I didn't like is I think I wasn't, mentally prepared to help those guys. We had 5 freshmen, and not just the 5 freshmen. Reggie and Steve were new too. They were JUCO transfers, right. So they had never been in the program. They didn't know anything, hardly either. And I wish I would have given them a little bit more support. I wish I would have been in a type of mind, frame to be able to have helped them, to be helping myself and to have helped them at the same time, because they were going, people always say it's tough to watch from the bench, but it's tough, when your friends are going through that and they're losing and you don't have the tools, to make it better for them.
And Scott, both to those points, right? I had broken my foot my first senior year. I played 10 games and then broke it against Bradley. And getting ready for that Bender year coming in the fall, Ruben was with me on that bike Saturdays and Sundays. I would meet him over at Redbird Arena, and I'd get out because I wasn't cleared to run until first week of October. So now I got to be able to start running and all that. And Ruben, like you said, every step of the way, I would not have played my senior year if it was not for the effort he put in, above and beyond what any trainer would ask for. I mean, he was there every Saturday and Sunday for the first 6 weeks, and then the season started. And even when the season was over, making sure I was icing and all the stuff he did to take care of us. So, and Doc did a wonderful job too, but Ruben was by far awesome. The other one was, here I am, played 10 games, broke my foot, and I was no help to you guys, right? I'm a senior. There's a little bit of mental health issues going on, right? You're trying to, you think you're ready to play, and now it's being taken away from you. And there's nothing to change the clock, right? You know these games you'll never get back. And so I didn't really help you guys either, and it's a regret I have. So we were kind of laughing about my zookeeper pants, and you were teasing me about my my fashion choices. But again, right, it's the same thing, brother, right? I mean, you went through what I went through. So, all right, so you're on the bench. You ACL surgery and probably early, because it's Dayton. It's got to be late November.
Well, yeah.
Playing Wichita or Chicago State middle February. Fight breaks out. You're probably, I think you said you think you're coming off crutches or still on crutches at that point.
Yeah.
So did you crutch on down there and start beating people with a crutch?
Yeah, then they could have kicked me out the game. I'd be like, I'm out of the game already. You can't take me. I probably would have, at the best, get out of the way. Because all I could have thought of was, man, if somebody fall on my leg, then we're really going to be fighting. I know these people. My mother and my sister graduated from Chicago State. I could walk to Chicago State from my house in Chicago. I was at Chicago State. I knew those people in and out. I know the head coaches now, athletic director then and now. So, yeah, Chicago State's like, second home to me. So if they would have fell on my leg during that fight, I would have saw them back at home.
All right. So we were supposed to have JC on. Big Gerard Coleman is having some stuff with his family and is not able to join us. So for those that have wondered about the Rumble and Redbird locker room, it's Scott and JC and John. So those are the three that went at it. So here's how it goes down, right? Butterly talks about it. Coach Lowenthal couldn't believe it actually happened. Bob Morris made reference to it. JC's made reference to it. So we go to Creighton, and I've said it before, we laid an 8. We played like dirt. We come back. It's 2-ish in the morning. We're all tired. Bender is yelling at us, giving us the grief, whatever. He leaves. Coaches are around the corner in that locker room, Butterly, and then we can't see him as players. Scott Fowler stands up. Hi, Scott. We're all friends, so don't worry about this. And JC and I and Scott got on a call about a month ago where we talked about doing this, and we're just laughing. So we are still thick as thieves today. So the fight meant something then, it means something today, but it's not nothing to do with our friendship and our brotherhood. Scott stands up, looks at JC and goes, "You're a punk." Looks at Jon Pemberton, which is me, and goes, "You're a punk."
Such a surreal moment, looking when I think back at it, I tend to, I end up narrating to myself, the things that happen, and I try to put it into focus. And first of all, none of it could have happened without a few things. One, I had an extreme passion for not just the program, but for my teammates, for the guys that I played with. And I love those guys, and I love them like brothers. They are brothers to me. So first, none of this happens if that's not there. If there's just some group of guys or whatever and nobody cares about anything, then we're not having this conversation.
Right.
But when I look back, it was almost like if you woke up on a boat, a sailboat, and the wind's not blowing, and you can see the shoreline, but the current's taking you the other way. You can see it. It's there. That was our season. You could see it. It was there. We could do so much better, but we're going the wrong direction. And the frustration is building in everybody. It's building, in the coaches. You can see it in the players, the management staff. Everybody's on edge and things like that. And for me, I'm thinking that I need to get to point A. And what's in my way right now is Jon and Gerard. I need to get through these guys to get to point A. Either, first of all, I love and admire the both of them. Jon there's never no fight in Jon. And Gerard's talent was something I looked up to, so I admired everything that they brought to the team and to our program.
Thank you.
But I needed them to do more. I needed them to get us over this hump.
Thank you.
You could have probably spoken to Ricky or Randy, but no, I didn't play point guard or shooting guard. I played power forward. I played in the trench with these dudes. So something had to change. And, I don't even remember how bad we had lost to Creighton, but I just remember thinking, I could do better on my own. I need these guys to step up and do something. If they're not going to step up and do something, then something needs to change. And as I looked around at our team, it didn't seem like we were going to get that push. Every so often, like if you're on that boat, you just need that breeze to bring it the other way. It just wasn't happening. So I just felt like we were getting deeper and deeper into a situation that we probably couldn't recover from. And something had to kickstart us in the right direction. Now, my high school and part of my college days, corporal punishment was still legal, especially in high school. You can get paddled and stuff like that. So when we were in high school, it was like, hey, we're all from the same, streets in Chicago. Let's do this. And if you could see that, it was okay. And it was nothing for you to shake your brother, and I played basketball with my brother. It's nothing to shake him and say, "Hey, I love you. You can do better. You will do better."
Right.
Or you got to move, and that's what it came to in the locker room. I don't even remember the verbiage, calling out them, but I know I spoke directly to those guys because that's what I needed. That's the attention I needed, and. It was so much, piss and vinegar at the time. It was just so much. It just built up so much that, at that last point, looking into his eyes, I wasn't, it still wasn't happening. So then it happened,
Yeah.
I gave him a nice little strike and it woke him up. It woke him up. Woke that team up, woke that program up, and we went on to do things.
Yeah.
Now, is it true that you hit Gerard versus Jon because Pemberton's just a little bit bigger than Gerard? Was there some calculated?
Yeah, Jon broke his foot. He's slow, so if I ran, I knew he wasn't going to catch me. It wasn't going to be a fair fight. It's like, leave Jon alone. He got enough going on. And, I came to that school, at St. Louis, there was a player that was just like Gerard. His name was Anthony Bonner, I think it was. He played for the Knicks or something like that.
Yep.
Same type of player. So I followed that player, when I came to Illinois State. And, I watched him play and I watched him perform and things like that. And, I wanted to emulate. But, we got to a point where the life was being, was taken out, the love for the game, the enthusiasm, the hunger, go out there and be a beast. We're big dudes. So, we need to play big dude basketball. And we weren't. And I know he could. I know they could. And they proved that they could. I found myself in a position where I was just so upset and frustrated that I had to, I had to let them know. And I do that with my biological brothers and sisters, cousins, my kids, I let them know. So I would have done nothing less with these guys.
Yeah, and it was a wake up, right? Because there's a lot of other people were frustrated too, right? Other guys got up and either tried to join the melee or break up the melee. It was just it was, and we were good within minutes after, right? I think everybody realized we were all frustrated, right? We were all struggling. And man, wow, right? And
I didn't have any more passion than anybody else. Everybody there had the same amount. It was just that, we weren't moving forward. No, we weren't. We weren't putting our best foot forward.
And then you'll go in and take the next game and get the greatest tip in ever in ISU history.
I know. For people that watch this, that jumping and stuff, that was really spontaneous.
And Steve,
that has never been duplicated in my life.
Steve, correct us. That jumping and tip was the game after the Rumble in Redbird Arena.
The very next game.
Next game. So, yeah.
But we've had people on here, and Barley said it, Gerard said it, Coach Lowenthal. Everyone's talked about that incident, right? And then how it changed. And way before we even thought about doing podcasts, I mean, John, you talked about it yourself, and he told us little bits and stuff like that, and so that was the thing that changed it. And you guys were 6-9 after that Creighton game, and you guys won 12 out of the next 15 games. So,
wow.
I mean, it speaks for itself, And I think Dan, Barley even said he admired the leadership, for you to take that, initiative, and you
did.
Yeah, I mean that was it was a catalyst.
It was a catalyst.
No doubt about it.
A defining moment. Yep. And what we're blessed is the fact that we are all still close as thieves, right? And we could go through that, and frustration when you're losing, it's hard, right? And for Scott's been on 2 losing teams. I've been on 1 losing team. It's a very frustrating thing. We were all nipping at each other. I had a broken foot, and guys were teasing me and mad at me because, right, I wasn't participating and I couldn't, right? And Scott watched it too, right? He feels like he couldn't help Vandergaard and those freshmen like he should have, but it happened. So, all right, Scott, this has been your episode, brother. It's always a pleasure. Any closing marks you want to give us before we wrap this up?
I'm so glad and appreciative that you guys are doing this. I talk to my kids about, the olden days, and I sound older and older the more I talk to them about it, but then they get to see something like this, like they went and saw The Last Dance, like, oh, I didn't know that about Michael Jordan and stuff like that. It's a new eye. Something like this gives them a new eye on, how it was for us, what we did, and the type of, because I don't know, and I don't know if kids had the same type of brotherhood that we had back then. Yeah, we could fight and curse each other out, but I got your back. Yeah. Everybody knows that. There's nobody that would doubt that. So with that, thank you guys for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for being my teammate. Thank you for being on. Yeah, and it's the Redbird Brotherhood, right? I mean, we could be fighting on the court and go to a house party and kick it with, whatever we were drinking that night. If we were doing, and guys, right. Some guys didn't drink and did drink, and it didn't matter, right? We were all good. So,
hey, and hopefully there was no recruits.
Yeah, in Waterston Lobby, which seems to be a reoccurring theme for basketball. So
they do that once a year.
I think if that guy was on the team, you guys would have beat Michigan, but whatever.
Exactly.
All right. So this is episode 17 with Scott Fowler, and we are signing off. Now, the great thing about this, Scott, is usually I'm the one who is always teasing Jon Diener, but here we are signing off. Episode 17, Scott Fowler. Oh, I didn't do it right. I did the same thing.
There we go.
There we go. There we go.
All right.